Well, would you believe it? Rain here at Monaco for the Virtual Racing Championship. You just cannot write it. Hello everyone and welcome to Monte Carlo, one of the greatest racetracks in the history of Formula One. Not for its high intensity racing, more for the fact that we're going to be seeing some fantastic crashes and some real stressful moments. And we have got 16 drivers here today. We've got ourselves some very quick guys, including the championship leader Diego Killer, Veloce Oli D. A lot of these guys will be preparing for what's going to be one of the toughest qualifying sessions that they are going to go through in quite a long time. Not only that, many of these guys will be racing in AOR as well, so they'll be doing it this coming weekend on Sunday. So that's going to be a bit torturous, and what a way to prepare in the rainy conditions of Monte Carlo. The crown and the jewel, the Principalitin. It's an absolute classic, and I for one cannot wait for what this race entails. You can see all the guys coming out on track there, the two Force Indias, Ferrari, Mercedes coming out. The first guy out on track is Cherry Tupai. He's decided to get out nice and early, wiggling a little bit, because this rain is probably going to get heavier and heavier. So the earlier you get out, maybe just find that little bit more grip from the track. It's going to be hard to tell. It may even be at the very latter end stages when these guys are going to be much more competitive. You will notice my voice is much less nasally, as I'm not ill this time around, so I'm very grateful for that fact. We have got the... oh, you just see Cherry Tupai going very wide there. We have got ready a few drivers for interviews if they crash out of this Grand Prix, one of which is the man who's currently in last place, Pit Matt, and in the pit lane. So if he crashes out, the pad runner, then we will get him in for an interview to get his opinions and his views on what's happened, as Cherry Tupai there having a little bit of a moment going into the heavy braking zone. Let's ride on board with him as we're going to be going sector 2 yellow flag. That's not ideal. Could have been anyone, as they're all starting to file their way through. We've got fastest laps, and you'd normally go for tyres. A couple of guys out on inters. Wow, a few guys have gone intermediates. Tim Palm, Dan Daniel, Danny, McSendit, Eagle. Interesting. So maybe it's going to be drying up a little bit later on. We'll start with Cherry Tupai as he starts his fantastic lap round here. You see how much so many issues having there on the rear wing of that car. Heading into turn 1, sector 2 yellow flag. He's hit the wall, Cherry Tupai, so this lap is already ruined for him. So that will be major front wing damage on his... you can see it just there, a little bit of front wing damage, so that's his lap pretty much ruined. Even if he does complete it, it's going to be a difficult one for him to really compete. So maybe these wet weather tyres aren't good enough. Look at the backing here. You've got Danny ahead there, formerly TR Button, now joined a new esports team. He is going to be dropping in to that Haas car and continuing over with his points. Poe has retired very early, so he must have crashed out. Interesting from Poe there as to why that's happened. We'll find out. Oh, Jesus Christ! Lambo as well. Well, I'm not too sure what's happened there. They're both gone at the same place. I will find out what's happened, but that is just pure mayhem there. So both Force Indias have crashed out at pretty much the same place, and I have no idea why. Maybe there was an error, or maybe they've made a mistake, maybe it's a tactical thing. They've both crashed out. It just seemed like they just lost full control. We'll see if we can find out what's happened there. We've got Big C in the comments. Welcome, Big C. Yes, we will be keeping a close eye on Cameron. He is a big race driver, Cameron, definitely not the king of bottle jobs, or as somebody once referred to him as slit eyes. A fantastic insult. We'll keep a hold of that one. Francis has gone top of the timing sheets to begin with. 1 minute 23 dead so far. Cherry Tupai into the pit lane there. Veloce Oli D, keep an eye on him. He's a very competitive driver, was once leading the championship, missed last time out where the Eagle Killer thrived and gained points on him in the championship. We'll run through the championship standings very shortly. We'll have a look, see what Oli D can do here as he comes across the line to complete his first lap. And he goes up into P2, not quicker than his teammate, 1 minute 24. So the track maybe is leaning a little bit more towards intermediates, as Dan Daniel has gone for a 23.2. So this is really interesting conditions here. Tim Palm coming through this final sector now, going to try and hold this car as close to the barriers as humanly possible. Comes through Raskas now, the uphill section, going to flick the car slightly to the right. His teammates just ahead of him, flicking up some spray which could put him off slightly, give him some dirty air. He's going to come across the line. Where does Diego Killer goes to 1 minute 24. He's in 9th, and Tim Palm is only 6th. So Oli D and Diego Killer are the two slowest times at the Monaco qualifying session so far. so not ideal for them two. We will see if we can get a lap with one of these guys who are maybe going for a quick lap. It's difficult to say at the moment what tyres are quicker. The wet tyres are showing a bit more pace, but I feel like there's some life in them intermediates that we're not seeing. It is really a horrible cut-off point at the moment for these guys, but when we do get a complete lap, when we find someone who's out on a lap for Cherry Tupai, we'll put him under a little bit of pressure, and we will watch Cameron when he goes onto his lap, as I believe everyone else is either on in laps. Cherry Tupai gone and hit a wall there? I don't know, I don't think it was him. But yeah, there's a few guys who are on laps there, like Ollie D. I don't think this is going to be improvement unless he's just chugging away with heavy fuel, getting some consistency in that car. He's going to come across the line, and any improvements from Ollie D. Oh, it goes up into 5th. So Ollie D does move up into 5th, but we're going to do our hot lap on Cameron, who is stuck behind the current 2nd place man, VSR Francis, at the moment, on a 22.8. It's the fastest time is on intermediate. So these guys will have enough time to come in and go on into if they see there's a little change. We have got a completely split field at the moment. Pit Matt also coming out. Lambo and Poe crashing out earlier on. Guys, not set lap times at the moment. Our Blizzard, Cherry by Poe, and Pit Matt in last place, who doesn't think he's going to Grand Prix. Pad, Cherry Tupai needs to back off from Francis here, create some separation and give himself a bit of a gap. Francis is jipping a little bit all over the place there with his lag, not ideal from him. So Cherry Tupai, if he's going to be smart, not one of Cameron's fortes, he'll just back off, which he's doing now. He's using the intelligence, don't see very much of it, as he's going to line up for a lap. As we're going to stay on board with him. Sector 3, yellow flags will be because of these slow moving cars, which could affect a few guys on hot laps. Here comes Cherry Tupai as he comes through Raskas. Let's see what he does as he heads down to turn 1 at Sanderbot. He needs to open the corner up. He's lost the rear end slightly there. Not ideal from Cameron as he heads down, braking late into Sanderbot. Let's see what he can do. Is he going to avoid that left hand side again? No, he clips it once again, so he's really struggling with understeer, and he's now riding the curves up the hill. He's losing the car all over the place. Oh, he's in the wall, and Cherry Tupai there showing some classic manoeuvres from Cameron, and he's in the wall again. This is not good from Cameron. I was going to give you a little track map. He's actually just gone through Casino, so not very quick or competitive, but he's gone through Casino, coming up now into the corner where Rosberg done his classic moment. Cherry Tupai, he likes to do things the hard way, and has also done a Nico Rosberg, and is now having to reverse up and cause some yellow flags there. So Cherry Tupai not showing the greatest bit of confidence. Let's see what Pit Matt can do as he heads in the hairpin, as he's heading down into turn 7 now, just holding that on the pad. It's going to be tough for him, but fair play for him to giving it a go. You can really see how much how much oversteer he's got there in that car. As he's going to come through Portier and the tunnel now, as he's going to come into the Nouvelle Chicane, one of the more interesting corners for this car. Let's see what he can do on the pad. He's going to have to switch this quickly, avoiding that corner cut warning. He's going to have to open it up nicely. It's going to be tough for him to get that quick axle change and get that car nicely powered up. Heads now to a long left-hander, a blind left-hander at turns 12 as he heads into 13 and 14 at the swimming pool section, coming into 15, 16 now, opening it up nicely there. Just want to clip the wall, nicely done, considering Cameron was on a wheel and Matt's on a pad here. Matt's doing a very good job. Pit Matt now coming up into Raskas, 18 and 19 to complete this 19 corner circuit here, the street circuit of Monaco. He's going to come across the line. He just needs to set a safety banker here. He crosses the line, and he can only go up to P12 at the moment, which is the slowest of the completed laps. Luxendit is top at the moment on them intermediates, 1 minute 22.3. Then it's Dom, aka Freak, who we're going to call him NTG. We'll call him Freak / Dom, pretty much the same person. We'll call him Freak because it's his gamer tag. Then Dan Daniel making it up into 3rd, and Veloce Ole D in 5th at the moment. Deagle Killer, his championship rival, in P6. Yellow flags all over the place. Cherry Tupai's coming to the pits. Not ideal from him. Blizzard's out on track as he comes through. Raskas, the final corner, and Blizzard's lost the rear end there. He's taken a pretty interesting line and clipped the curving. He may be, which will mean he will not be last and could well secure himself a back road place there as he's going to come across the line. Is he going to set a lap here? Oh, there's a Red Bull just exiting the pits. Blizzard 1 minute 32.7. Needs to keep going and set another lap, try and get into the pits maybe, but this is very, very tight from this lot at the moment, and it's very interesting. David Dawson, Big C having some fun at the expense of Cameron. You kind of expect it, but yeah, we'll see if we can hear from Cameron, maybe give him a setup video. I did offer him the opportunity to do an interview before and after this race, probably after the race. When I say after the race, give it around about lap 2, once he's maybe crashed out, and then we'll hear from Cameron, hopefully. Cameron, the pad, it is an interesting one around this track. Pads versus wheels. is something that's going to keep us interested here. A lot of the wheel users are going to be much more competitive, but if you're on the pad, there is a little bit of hope, and that hope is that everyone else crashes out in front of you. So there's really not much hope at all. Cherry 2 Pie, the only guy yet to set a lap. Poe and Lambo. Blizzard's really struggling. The guy is quite competitive at times as well. He's not doing too well. Floris, an esports president, spent years and years trying to get an esports team to sign him, and he finally successfully done. An iconic moment from Floris, in fact, was when he when he added a few esports teams into a group chat and didn't realise he added other people, and they screenshotted it, and he was a little bit exposed. But Deagle Killer's now top of the timing sheets at the moment. Speaking of Dutchmen who are quick, Deagle Killer's top from Extended at 1 minute 22.1, as Francis on the wet tyres with 1 minute 21.9, really thriving at the moment, doing a fantastic job, and yeah, doing a really good job at the moment. Danny TR Bus is the top pad runner at the moment in 8th position on the 23.2. A good job from him at the moment. Ollie D will be expecting a bit more. Dom / Freak, sector 3 yellow flags. Anyone gone wide down there? Oh yes, what a shocker. Is anyone really surprised? It's Cameron. He's gone off at Raskas, and that is, I feel like we have to watch Cameron as he comes now onto this lap. He's having a torrid time in qualifying. He's really not enjoying this. Is he going to come now into turn 1? Down he goes. Can he avoid the wall this time? He's clipped it a little bit into Sandervoort now as he heads up the hill section, turns 2 and 3, heading into Matinee and Casino. Let's see what he can do through Matinee here. He's got Flores ahead of him into Casino. Can he avoid the wall this time? Let's see what he can do. He needs to play it safe and just set a time. He's done a good job there. Heading into turn 5 as they head the downhill hairpin section. Flores is going to get in his way, so this could hinder him or give him a line to go by. Cherry 2 Pie going to shift down into first gear, going to swiftly shift it round now onto that axle, turning left and right sharply now, riding the curbing as he heads down into turn 7, up into turn 8, into the tunnel section. Out of Portier he goes. Forrest moves out of the way as Freak goes to the top step of there. Sorry, top step, 1 minute 21.7 on the wet weather tyres, so it's really hard to tell which is quick at the moment as he heads down into the Nouvelle chicane. Going to head up now into turns 12, 13 and 14, going into the swimming pool section. West, there's enough water on the track as Cherry 2 Pie has gone into the wall once again, and now he's lost some front wing. That end plate is gone, and that's causing major understeer problems for him now as he heads down into the Raskas coming through now. Can he just get this line nicely and set a lap? We could have a round of applause here if Cherry 2 Pie finally completes a lap now. Coming out the front corner, he gets a nice exit there, opens the corner up, loses a little bit of rear end. He sends on the power now, and it's a 1 minute 24.3. The only man he's quicker than is Pitmat, a pad runner with no confidence. So not ideal from Cameron there, as not really what you want to be seeing from Cherry 2 Pie as he heads up the hill. I can imagine he's going to be coming into the pits there. Xspirit now in P12. He's done a decent enough job. Blizzard, every time I Blizzard and Cherry 2 Pie, one of them spinning. It seems to be regular, and this lost it goes into the Nouvelle chicane. He's letting a few cars go there. Not ideal from him. Dom / Freak doing a great job up in the top step at the moment in his debut for the VRC, doing a really good job at the moment. A 1 minute 21.7. Francis in second, 1 minute 21.9, doing an okay job as well. Flores has moved up into the 22 dead. So it looks like the tyres are now coming to the intermediates. Let's see what the guys have set their best laps on. So the top 2 tyres are both set on wet compound tyres. From 7th to 3rd intermediates. Now McSendit's gone on the intermediates and he's just shy of Dom's time. So let's see what tyres Dom goes onto when he comes into the pits. I'd be surprised. Look how much the track's drying up now. It's definitely intermediate conditions. You can just see based on the spray and the line that's starting to form that the better tyres in these conditions are going to be the intermediates now. So I'd expect most of the guys, you can see Dan Daniel's the only guy in the intermediate tyres this moment in time. Are going to be on them into, so anyone can really go pole. My money is looking like Dom with just under 4 minutes to go. We've got ourselves a very interesting qualifying session here in VRC for Monaco. The Crown, it looks like the Jewel in the Crown, one of the greatest racetracks in history, not for its racecraft of course, more for the excitement and drama it brings. We could have a safety car or two here today, which could make it a little bit tasty. If all these guys finish the Grand Prix, I will be surprised. So big points on the line for the top guys at the moment. We'll have 16 guys competing today as here comes McSendit now. I think he may be on a lap. If not, he's going to be coming into the pits pretty sharply. to maybe put on a fresh set of intermediate tyres. A little bit surprised that a lot of the guys who went out early on the intermediate tyres probably going to be regretting that, as they're going to be on a lesser set of intermediate tyres maybe later on. Here comes Luxembourg. He goes into the pit lane. Ollie D on an out. This looks like he's on a... Oh, he's on a... Oh, Francis, a little bit of a moment. Oh no, this is lag. Just the lag from Francis. They're not... I thought he went into a wall. The free yellow flag. Who's that for? We might as well go down to Blizzard and Cherry 2 Pie. Neither of them two, so I'm not too sure who that was. Matt, though, he's coming from last at the moment. He's dead last time. I had a driver that worked performance get into P7 with his consistency as he's coming down into the downhill hairpin section. You can see how difficult it is on the pad to get round that corner. Really a flaw in the game that maybe F1 needs to sort that out. So come on. Issue out for pad users there as they're coming into these final few laps. 2.5 minutes to go. I'm not too sure. We'll go with Dom on his fastest lap, as this could well be the pole lap. Let's take it away. Well, speaking of which, 7/10 quicker, Deagle Killer goes as he heads down into turn 1. Now, can he take this line nicely? Cherry 2 Pie could learn a thing or two. He's beautifully taken that. A minor lock up at the front left tyre there, but he's got the car slowed down in time. Heading up down into Matinee and Casino, turns 3 and 4, a long left-hander that's a quick right-hander, blindsided onto the apex. You open the curve, curving up, you want to just avoid that hill there. Cherry 2 Pie getting into the way there, not the most sporting move. You've got to be moving out the way much better than Matt Cameron. Heading down into the hairpin of turn 6 as he's going to continue this long left-hander. Feels like it goes on forever. Heading into turn 7 out of Portier. Can he get a good enough exit heading into the tunnel? And down into the tunnel he goes now. Nouvelle chicanes of turns 10 and 11. Let's see what he's able to do. Needs to get on the brakes nice and sharply there. A little bit of cold tyres can affect you majorly here as you come out the tunnel with no wet conditions, especially when you're on the intermediates through there. You can find yourself in a real difficult situation. Done a good enough job here now. Coming out of 12 and 13 and 14. Danny is retired there. Must have crashed out in sector 3. We may see his car shortly, which could hinder Dom slightly now. We come through 16 into 17 of Raskas now. Can he get this time? It looks like it's a competitive time. Ollie D is moving up to P2 there, so 1/10 off. Deagle Killer's now improved to 1 minute 20.4. Here comes Dom / Freak. Can he go pole? He can. 1 minute 20.2, the fastest lap there. 52 seconds to go. He may well be in another lap here. We'll keep an eye on Deagle. I think we'll go with Ollie D first, as he could be the first of these top 3 to cross the line. A surprise Francis, though, really doing a good job at the moment. Ollie D, Deagle, and then Francis really is the battle for pole, unless McSendit, he's come across the line. What's he able to do? No time from him. Flores, though, we'll go with Flores. He comes through into Raskas now. Flores will be on probably the quickest time of the best track conditions of any time on a Blizzard there, completely parking his car up. He had enough of a qualifying session. Flores has gone into a wall, so that's Flores out of this pit map. He's heading up the hill. Cherry 2 Pie, I think we're going to be going on board with Deagle Killer, as he's just decided to completely shaft that chicane. Not too sure there. Dom is continuing going now as Dom heads through this. Going to be a difficult one for him. He's clipped the wall through 12 into 13 and 14. He's quick left right left chicane into Rapcast now. Yellow flanks in sector 1 and 2 is all going now. These guys going down, getting out of the way. Here comes Dom then. He's going to be the first of these top guys to see. Can he improve on his 1 minute 20.2? It looked scruffy at the time. He crossed the line. He got a 1 minute 19.6. Next up is going to be Francis. It was proof of these. He does moves up into second position. Wasn't expecting that from him. A very competitive time. Dan Daniel out of nowhere moves up into P2 as well. Cherry 2 Pie moves up into P7, but now into P8 as other guys like McSendit set their laps, each equal in 9th, doing a very good job. Let's see what the gaps are like. You can look at the gap there. Some of these guys have got. Ollie D was off the pace dramatically there, so must have had a mistake on his final lap, but on his debut it is Freak on pole from Daniel. Great from the man from VP. Dan Daniel doing a great job at the moment. That was throwing us work some of these. Deagle Killer in the upper hand. Championship. Let's take a look at qualifying results. So it is in TG 2011 Freak. We'll be calling him Freak throughout this Grand Prix.
on pole. From Damn Daniel, it's Francis in third. Send it in fourth. Eagle Killer fifth. Ollie D is in sixth. Flores seventh. Cherry Super covering very well into P8. Ninth is the H Eagle. Danny, formerly Button, he's in 10th, running in there. 4 seconds off is Expert. Sorry, I don't want to bottle his name because I do get complained if I bottle a name or two. So Expert, he's in 11th. Tim Parr in 12th. Pitmat 13th. 14th Blizzard. Good job for Pitmat out qualifying on it. It's TTG Poe and TTG Lambo in both Force Indias in 15th and 16th from that Grand Prix. So we are a formation lap away from if there's lag on the mic, apologies for that. Sometimes it does cut out. Let me see if this is has been sorted. Sometimes it does cut out. Let me see if that's been sorted. Yeah, it seems to have been sorted. I do apologise if there is anything like that. Just sometimes the PlayStation's a bit crap. First generation doesn't process the gameplay as well, and sometimes the mic quality jumps in and out. But should be okay for most of this. So I do apologise if it does cut out any moments, but it should sort itself out pretty sharpish if it does. So the guys are starting to ready up now. The ticks are going next to the name. Interesting what Poe and Lambo were doing there. I'm a little bit surprised. It did look a little bit off. The Eagle Killer, we know what you know going off at that chicane, a little bit dangerous. I'm not sure what he was doing. Maybe he just was trying to cause a yellow flag or two. We've now got a formation lap ahead of us here at the Monaco Grand Prix to see what these guys can do. Dom on his debut on the top step, and this is going to be an interesting Grand Prix from these guys. I'm going to take a quick drinks break. This is going to be one hell of a Grand Prix. Interesting to see as well with the dry conditions, if these guys had wet weather setups or dry car setups. That may have been why some of them were a little bit of the pace. Maybe Ollie D went for a dry car setup, whereas Dom was on the wet conditions. We'll never know really. We could have some alternate strategies. We'll have a look, see what tyres the guys have gone on. I'd be surprised if we'll be seeing any major changes on alternate strategies, because around here it's pretty basic. Want to go for the tyres there. So ultra soft for the top two, the super soft for Francis, hyper soft for the Eagle Killer and Ollie D. Flores on ultras, Cherry on ultras, H Eagle on ultras, Danny and Expert are both on the super soft, Tim Palm on ultras, and then it is Pitmat and Blizzard, also Poe and Lambo on the super soft tyres, even though they have both been disqualified, probably for making contact. So they will be taking part in this Grand Prix nonetheless. So as these guys start to filter their way through, want to get your comments down below. If you are watching along live, please. Oh bloody Francis, that could be a nightmare for some guys with this lag that he's showing at the moment. May get black flagged if he continues away. So guys, get down below, get your predictions in. Who's going to be the first DNF? Who's going to win this Grand Prix? Any outsiders? Do you reckon the likes of Tim Palm, Pitmat or Blizzard can make their way through from the back there? Maybe get a podium or two. Get your predictions down below before lights out in just a few seconds time. We're going to be looking at Freak and Damn Daniel. We could have some drama down into turn one, so keep an eye out for that. These guys have filtered their way through. We've got ourselves a race on our hands now. We're just 5 red lights away. The green flags are showing. Yellow flags in sector 3. Not sure what that's for. They've been waved away. We are 5 red lights. Get ready for the Monaco Grand Prix. It's Virtual Racing Championships, and we are underway here. It's seemingly looking up ahead there. Let's see, Dom's had a very good start from Damn Daniel. He's moved in nicely now, heading into turn 1. A little bit of contact further down the field. There's a Ferrari and a Mercedes making contact, but the guys have got through nicely in the midfield scrap there. Danny is all over the rear end of Cherry too by heading up the hill. Flores as well, but they've all seemingly got through nice and cleanly there. And no real swapping of places. Ollie D and Flores battling out. Ollie D right onto the rear end of the Eagle Killer, but can't get the manoeuvre done there, heading through. It might be better for the onboard. Look at that great little side-by-side squabbling, heading down into the hotel chicane. Look at the contact there from the Force India and the McLaren further down. You'll see that one of the Force Indias ran into the other one. Pitmat has been dropped down a few places there, but one Force India ran into the other, and that caused some damage. I believe it was running into Blizzard. So not ideal from them guys there. Not what you want to be seeing from this lot heading in there, but they're doing a good enough job at the moment. Apologies for that, just had to quickly record that moment, qualifying and all that for the highlights packages we will be posting out onto social media very, very shortly. Lovely camera angles here out at Monaco as Freak has set the fastest lap of the Grand Prix. Cherry 2 Pie is dropping a little bit behind Floris at the moment, so we could have ourselves a split and divide from these guys at the moment. Also, McSendit is starting to cause a little bit of a train, but France isn't pulling away too much. Ollie D versus Deagle is where the real battle is. Pit Matt picks up a time penalty. Is there any issue for him at the moment? I'm not too sure, but Poe and Lambert are both coming to the pit, so their weekends too much just pointless at the moment. Now, Pit Matt, if he's smart, will just race his own race, stay out of the battles. He's on the pad, it's going to be difficult for him. No real pace has been shown from the Ferrari man most of this Grand Prix, and it would be a sort of shock if he does out of nowhere pick up the pace. Cherry 2 Pie is out of DRS range, so too is Francis of McSendit. Francis has got Deagle Killer all over his rear end. It's going to be a long old afternoon, I feel, for the Red Bull, who's going to be trying to get past the Mercedes of France, who showed so much pace in qualifying. Tim Palmer's got past Daniel there, so a rare overtake, and I'm a little bit annoyed we missed it, to be fair. So slow pace from Danny. He is on a pad, of course, so he's going to be struggling slightly. Ollie D needs to keep himself nice and clean. You can see rival ahead of him, and he needs to pick up as many points as possible. But Francis out of DRS could be under threat very, very shortly from the Red Bull. Freak is doing a great job, 1.7 seconds ahead of Daniel McSendit in third. Is out of DRS, and so too is Francis. Sector yellow flags in sector 3, and that is a McLaren round, and that is Blizzard, something we've seen very frequently from the McLaren driver. He has dropped and lost it coming out of the final corner, and that is not what you want to be seeing here. So he's dropped a place. Pit Matt has made a mistake. Something's happened with Pit Matt. He's letting him by, so maybe contact between the two of them. And Pit Matt has let him go, so there must have been contact between the two of them there. We'll find out later on what happened, but Pit Matt has lost the dropped the position there and let the guy ahead of him, Blizzard, go. So yeah, to be fair, Blizzard is a pad runner as well, so both of them on pads. You can see the difference in pad to wheel, so there is a real riding the curve. You have to do that. So the pad divide, it'd be nice to be a little icon saying what pad and wheel use. So if you are aware of some pad runners doing well in the comments, please do let us know, and we will get onto it and let you know. Cherry 2 Pie isn't a pad runner, he's on a wheel, 1.9 seconds off Floris. You can see that F2 divide in him now. Little slit eyes himself, really struggling, locking up that front left tyre. Floris is pulling away slightly. You can see that gaggle of cars being held up by Francis, including Deagle, Ollie D and Floris, all top tier AOR guys. They'll be wanting to show their pace as much as possible. Francis just wants to prove a point at the moment. A podium could be on the cards if two guys ahead of him crash out of this Grand Prix. I'd be surprised if anybody of the top guys does. It would take one lapse of concentration. We could see a safety car which could bunch these guys up. If we do see a safety car, that will probably be the only mandatory pit stop and take away from some exciting action. For Ollie D behind, he just wants to be keeping an eye that the Red Bull of the Eagle Killer makes a mistake or two, because if he makes a mistake, then that could open up the opportunity for him to gain significantly and try and gain some points in this championship that looks to be an uphill challenge for him this coming season. They're coming from the tunnel section. Deagle Killer has got some major pace now coming through. He's going to go for a late move up the inside. No, he doesn't. Francis outbrakes himself. That's going to compromise his exit. I don't think there's an overtaking move here from Deagle, but a mixture of lag and just a good bit of defensive driving from Francis has cost him the place there, as Exprit has lost the car coming out of the Nouvelle chicane, and that drops him down to P12 there. Pit Matt has dropped down, so maybe he's picked up some front wing damage into the pits. I'm not too sure. Let's see if we can see. Yeah, Pit Matt has come into the pits as well. So a few of these guys now making early pits. No, he doesn't. So yeah, Deagle Killer is getting closer and closer to Francis every single lap, and this could well be the lap he gets past, because if he gets past, he can then have a bit of clean road to go from McSendit and a podium cards for Ollie D. He needs to stick here as long as possible and try and force the hand of the Eagle by going for an undercut. That might be his best option of getting ahead of his rival here. But for Deagle Killer, he just needs to keep it nice and clean. Francis doing a good enough job at the moment to hold on to his place. It doesn't look like there's anywhere for Deagle to overtake. It would take a mistake from Francis for the Dutchman to get past him as they head through the tunnel section now. Does he get a good enough exit? He's gaining with slipstream. High ERS, you can see that bar coming down the steering wheel. Is he going to go for a late lunge up the inside? No, he does not. He thinks better of it. He just needs to sit back and wait. Sector 3, yellow flags. That might be one of the leaders. No, it is not. That could be... oh, it's just someone's obviously gone wide. It could have been Lamb. I'm not too sure, actually, what's happened there. So one of the guys ahead, in fact, Floris has dropped off quite a lot. So maybe Floris has made a mistake. Oh, but speaking of Floris, he's made a mistake there. Look at the rear end. That's now giving the opportunity for Cherry 2 Pie and Tim Palm to gain onto him. So Floris is really struggling at the moment, and now we've got a real close gaggle of cars. Let's see what Cherry 2 Pie can do as he's heading down start-finish straight coming into turn 1. Is he going to go for a move up the inside? He's sizing it up a little bit, thinks better of it, and he just makes it way through there nice and clean. That expert Eagles coming to the pits. Contact between Flores and Cherry Tupai. Oh Jesus, that's gone wrong. That's gone horribly wrong. Cherry Tupai there went for a move that wasn't available, and you can see the front wing of the the Red Bull has gone absolutely flying at Tim Palm. That means Tim Palm has no front wing as expected. Danny has gained a place from that, and Cherry Tupai has caused a calamity there from Flores. He's just gone for a move. There was no room there. Gone for just for a space that just was never going to happen, and Cherry Tupai has taken himself, Flores and Tim Palm theoretically out of this Grand Prix, and we could well see a steward's investigation after that. Very poor, and a moment to forget for Cherry Tupai there in the Toro Rosso, as Flores doing the right thing and letting guys through. It's a shame because it looked like that had all the hallmarks for a good battle, but a bit of immaturity has cost the two guys actually. I thought for Tim Palm actually. Dan Daniel was coming to the pits now, an early pit stop for him from the ultra soft tyres, so maybe he's going for the undercut on Freak, trying to do something a bit different. That has actually now set our minds for Diego Killer. Ollie D is a little bit, so maybe just trying to preserve the tyres slightly, think of playing it safe. Francis is going to be holding on, and he's into a podium place, so good job from him. Cherry Tupai is going to be coming to the pits undoubtedly for a change of front wing. Danny as well. I wonder if he picked up any damage from that. I don't think so. Let's have a look. Yes, he did. Danny lost his front wing from that as well. So too did Cherry Tupai. After that, let's see if that head Cherry Tupai does. Some Haas guys were very slow on the pit stop restart. Tim Palm has jumped Danny as well, so Cherry Tupai is ahead of Tim Palm, a guy who he caused the crash and kind of ruined the race for there. So definitely going to be a steward's investigation on that, because that was a bit of chaos, and he's crossed the yellow line a little bit late there as well, so that's a questionable moment as well. I mean, just we'll let the stewards look into all of this. Dare say at the end of this Grand Prix we'll see a 1 or 2 stewards. Closest battle on track is between Deal Killer and Francis, and this could get ourselves a little bit tasty here. Please do down below if you saw the incident from the stream. Please let us know whose fault you believe it was. Was it a racing incident? Was it one driver's fault from this person's point of view? It does look like Cherry Tupai maybe to blame, as Pit Matt has retired from this Grand Prix, must have lost the car. Flores is struggling. You can see right there what's happened to Pit Matt. He's come out of Casino and he's lost the rear end, so he may be joining us very shortly to talk through his Grand Prix and what happened in that race. He may also have views from Cherry Tupai, as I believe he was in a party with him as well. Oh, apologies. Oh, just one sec. We may be able to hear from Pit Matt, who was talking to Cherry Tupai about that incident, as Danny's hit the wall there, just lucky to avoid front wing damage. It looks like Diego Killer and Francis' battle was actually allowed. DNF for Dan Daniel. Dan Daniel, who was in the provisional P2, has crashed out. I'm not too sure where he's gone, but we'll see if we can hold on to it here. You may see, there he is, exact same move as Pit Matt. So a second guy has gone out of the Exeter Casino there. So both guys there, Pit Matt and Dan Daniel, within a space of a lap, have both gone off the casino and both completely ruined their Grand Prix. That is not ideal from them. That's promoted Cherry Tupai and Blizzard up into the points positions. Only guys yet to pit are Expert, Ollie D, Deagle Killer, Francis, McSendit and Freak. Sector 1 and 2, yellow flags. Deagle Killer's come in, he's executing that undercut now, which has released Ollie D into a little bit of free space. If Francis has got any logic, he will let his teammate through. And while we do this, we'll quickly talk to Pit Matt. We kind of expected it. We did talk beforehand about you maybe crashing out by about lap 10, and you happened. It looked like you lost the rear end at Casino.
Yeah, I completely lost it. I had half the front wing. I lost it on the previous lap. Decided to stay with it for one extra lap, but it was just awful. I was losing 3 or 4 seconds at the time. I had no grip at all. The pad is useless.
Well, if there's any consolation, Dan Daniel lost it at the exact same place as you. So you know,
right, well, that makes it.
We've got to ask. We saw an incident with Blizzard where you let him back through. We didn't catch what happened. What happened with you and Blizzard?
At the last corner, Blizzard did a half spin and he was halfway across the track. I ran into him, lost my front wing, and I got a legal overtake for whatever reason.
So you was forced to take yellow flags in sector 3. Not too sure what's happened there. Just that must have been someone going wide. Also, we want to quickly talk to you. Was you talking to Cameron earlier today in this race?
Yes.
Okay, so you was talking to Cherry Tupai. What was his reaction to the incident he had earlier with Flores? Because it seemed, speaking of Flores, he's just retired from this Grand Prix. He's decided to call it a day. So what was his point of view of the incident with Flores?
He didn't say a great deal. He just said, "Oh, Flores."
Wow, okay, you may be able to. Well, you may want to look back at the stream and see what's happened. Matt, thank you very much for joining us. We'll get back into the action here. And you know, very disappointed to see you go out on what was it, lap 8 you went out on, so lap 8 you just missed your quota.
I think it was that. I was on 6 or 7.
Oh, lap 6 or 7. Well, I did say you wouldn't make it to lap 10, and I was bang on, so thank you for that. As Lambo has come into the pits now, P9 for him, he's coming in, lost his front wing as well, a change of front wing for him. We just heard from Pit Matt about the incident in his race. He's out. Also out is his teammate Flores. Dan Daniel, who's in the provisional P2, is out, and Lambo in 12th, as there's a great little scrap caused between these guys. Blizzard, Tim Palm and Danny all doing a great job at the moment. Ollie D is not being let by Francis at the moment, as Ollie D's lost it. Ollie D's lost the rear end going out the swimming pool section. Ollie D has lost control of the car. He's lucky to get away with minor damage and not a completely shattered car. He's going to have to come into the pit lane now. Expert is retired, but Ollie D comes in, and we just caught the end of that, and that could race over for him, but he could still pick up some points here. So drama there on lap 11 for Ollie D. A change of front wing. He's lucky to get away with it. Here comes Deagle Killer. He's going to get the undercut successfully done. That dirty air of his teammate Francis has cost him, and Francis could have been a team player and let his teammate through, but no, he's decided to hold on to position. Fair play to him. It was his right to do so, and he has held on to this nicely. A podium is still on the cards. Deagle Killer, though, is gaining such significant time. I think he might be able to get the undercut on Francis here, so a podium could slip away. Ollie D dropping behind the H Eagle as well now. You can see him there coming out of the pits, doing a really good job for H Eagle at the moment. Ollie D, disaster for him, as Danny is coming to the pit, so he must have had a bit of front wing damage as well. We're going to see this frequently happen, where these guys pushing a little bit too much, and the front wing could get damaged slightly, and these guys are really pushing the cars every inch and every mile they get. They're going to be pushing these cars to their absolute limit at the moment, and you can see with the guys, so Danny has had to pit again for a fresh set of tyres. The longest set of tyres out there is freaking first. Dom 10 seconds ahead of second place. He's absolutely flying at the moment, and deservingly so, has the lead in this Grand Prix. Let's see, interval wise, there was really no close on track battles apart from Tim Palm and Blizzard. Tim Palm is all over the rear end of Blizzard. He's pushing him through the corner. The pad runner versus a wheel runner. We'll keep an eye on Tim Palm on board. They head through the tunnel. He's got so much more speed than the McLaren, the tangerine colour McLaren. Tim Palm late on the brakes, just avoiding the rear end. Very well done from him. Could have ended an absolute travesty, but he done good enough there to avoid the rear end. Quick movement there, maybe picked up a penalty or two on warnings, but he's done a really good job with this lovely swooping section through the swimming pool. He's really close to the car ahead of him as they come up through Raskas now for another lap. Can he hold on to him, and can he get close enough? Tim Palm is going to be opening up this corner. TV pod mode active as they head one. Let's see on board with him. Let's see what he can do. Blizzard is all over the place. Tim Palm is trying to get past. He's going to have to get inventive, I feel. This is what happened with Cherry 2.0 and Flores. He showed so much more significant speed. Tried to go for a move that was never going to happen and lost his front wing. Round the outside now goes Tim Palm. Surely not. Oh, he's just clipped the wall there, and that could have been a fantastic overtake. He's now going for the switchback up the inside. He's forcing his way through now as they're going to head into the Nico Rosberg corner as I've patterned it. Up the inside, side by side now as they're coming into the hotel. As we just cut off there. Beautiful driving from these two side by side throughout this lap. Wheel to wheel, a little bit of front wing damage. Tim Palm's up the inside. He's got the manoeuvre done. Blizzard had to concede that place. A great battle between Tim Palm and Blizzard, and Tim Palm has got the place done through the tunnel section, but it looks like Blizzard may come back at him with slipstream and DRS. Can he go for it? Lock up from both of them. Blizzard has run into the rear end of him and lost minor part of his front wing, but Tim Palm holds onto the place, and Blizzard has really come out the loser of that battle. A great little scrap between them two. Tim Palm showing his quality once again, and Blizzard, a pad user, is going to struggle, but he's done a really good job. Tim Palm, a very charismatic overtake, a real opportunistic moment, and he's done a real good job. As he's now going to have to come into the pits, as he got an illegal overtake. He's let Blizzard through. I'm not too sure. I'm not too sure what's happened there. So it looks like Blizzard and Tim Palm Tim Palm has lost some front wing, so he's having to let the guy go. Oh, that is a shame. So it was Tim Palm who picked up damage on his front wing. So Tim Palm got the place and move done. Is that going to mean he can jump Blizzard? No, Blizzard's got out ahead of him. Danny is going to jump both of these guys as he comes into turn one. And yeah, Danny moves up a place. Lambo, who started off really far at the back, is doing a real good job at the moment. Ollie D and the H Eagle are battling, and Ollie D has been let by the H Eagle, and Ollie D is through as he now starts his charge through the field to try and catch up to the Eagle Killer and Francis. He could still maybe get the undercut on Francis if he picks up enough pace. It looks like the Eagle Killer will be under
Francis in this Grand Prix. It's 8.9 seconds and gaining at a rate of knots, and Francis has not pitted. Francis will come out into P4 at the moment with the way that Ollie D's timing has gone. For Freak, he'd come out into P2. If he continues to build this gap, he may even come out into the lead, so nobody can touch Dom at this time. Tim Palmer's crashed out. Tim Palmer's lost it. I'm not too sure whereabouts he lost it. Let's see if we can find him. He's left the session. We're down to 10 runners. So all these guys in the points paying positions, if they finish the Grand Prix, they'll be picking up at least one VRC championship point. So the guys left out there, like Blizzard and Danny Pad runners, doing a real fine job at the moment. Cherry 2 Pipe into the pits. He's obviously picked up damage, which allowed Lambo, who started highly far at the back there. Yellow flags in sector 2 and 3, and that is Blizzard. If you fella retire, he's not. He's thought better of it. He knows that he's the last runner and just needs to get across that line. Nearly at the halfway mark here, as Blizzard really struggling now. Flores has left the session. The Red Bull of Deagle Killer's gone by, and Blizzard's gonna... No, Blizzard hasn't come into the pits. Blizzard's crashed out. Blizzard has lost it, and he's crashed out into the final corner, and that means we're down to 9 runners in this Grand Prix. Blizzard couldn't go any longer on the pad. He was struggling too much, and Monaco is really taking some victims at the moment, and we're down to 9 runners in this Grand Prix. Cherry 2 Pie is now been lapped by McSendit, and he's going to try and unlap himself. That could be a source of some drama. So there's no on-track battles really at the moment from these guys. It is just a strategic battle we're seeing from Francis and Ollie D and Deagle Killer to see who can get the undercut. Deagle Killer is gaining so dramatically on Francis at the moment that he may have a single stop over him. Dom is trying to build a pit stop over McSendit in second place. He's doing a good job at the moment. McSendit last week, a surprise package at Spain, and Dom in his debut is doing a fantastic job at Monaco to really put his hat into the ring potentially for a championship push with the way things are going. But Deagle Killer is gaining significant points over Ollie D in the championship at the moment. Right, back to the action then. Francis has now gained a position on McSendit. Let's see where Deagle comes. Deagle is looking like he's going to be close there to McSendit, and he's got the place on him. So Deagle Killer has up with undercut when he can hold to his tyre. May well just gain significant points in the championship. McSendit will be on much more significantly fresh tyres, and he's 2.8 seconds behind. Yellow flags in sector 1. Francis has lost control of the car. Francis has lost it. He's going to have to let Deagle through. He's going to have to let McSendit through, and that could be catastrophic for Francis. He's lost some of his front wing as well. So now Francis is doing such a considerable job, doing so well throughout this Grand Prix, has now lost it. Lambo's DNF'd as well, so Lambo is now out of this Grand Prix. It's all going on. Cherry 2 Pies promoting to the P8 in last place. Just need to keep it on track, fellas, and you'll get yourself some points. This is one thing we've got to tell these guys. We could have only a few and a handful of drivers. If you finish this Grand Prix, you could get yourself a podium, which would be incredible. This is real struggles around here. Francis, though, is going to be caught by Ollie D and potentially the H Eagle, so a man who's on for a podium place. It's gone longer, significantly longer, and it hasn't worked. So for Ollie D, he'll be up into 4th, and Francis has lost it, and he's out of this Grand Prix. He was on for a podium for so long, doing such a good job, and the safety car is now out. Drama here. A safety car has been released, and Freak/Dom, who has created such a huge gap throughout this Grand Prix, has now got to concede it and come into the pit lane. Real drama from these guys. Dom is having to slow down. You look at that gap he's built. 39 seconds is a huge gap for anyone, and he is now going to lose all of that gap and have to battle with Deagle Killer McSendit. A lifeline for Ollie D, who has now come into the pits for a fresh set of tyres. Maybe a wise manoeuvre there, onto a fresh set of ultra soft tyres, maybe a fresh front wing he was going for as well. He's now into P5 to try and make his life a little bit easier. So Poe has retired, has left the session now. Blizzard, he's gone. Lambo, it's all going off. The safety car's been deployed. 7 runners in this Grand Prix. Danny doing a great job for the pad runners. We've got ourselves some drama, and this is exactly what we wanted to see from these guys. A real good and close race at the moment from everyone, and we're really getting into the nitty gritty of the VRC Grand Prix here today, and it's really starting to heat up a little bit. And let's see what these guys are able to do here at Monte Carlo. There you can see that Ollie D riding as much of that curb as possible. Dom has come into the pits and he's caught up to the safety car. 41 seconds that Deagle Killer has to gain at the moment. That's a huge old gap, pretty much half a lap, nearly a full lap that he has to gain on Dom/Freak at the moment. Not ideal from him as they're going to be coming through. All these guys will bunch up. I think there should be enough laps for at least McSendit and Deagle Killer. For the H-Eagle and Ollie D, it's going to be a race of attrition to try and catch up. And there's a disqualification for Danny. Danny has been black flagged. Oh dear, no, for Danny that is heartbreak. He's been disqualified from this Grand Prix, which will promote Cherry 2 Pie up. But the pad runner Danny is a 2, must have been for the yellow flag glitch where you're not got close enough to the car ahead, so keep an eye on Cherry 2 Pie. No, Cherry 2 Pie, it's been lapped. Because Cherry 2 Pie was lapped, is he being allowed to go by? Cherry 2 Pie being allowed to go past? I'm not too sure. No. That is now thrown a little bit of a spanner in the works. We'll have a car in between him and the leader of this Grand Prix unless Cherry 2 Pie is allowed to go through. McSendit will be gaining onto, I think, close enough, and H-Eagle could just be as well. This Grand Prix is going. It looks like he's still going. I'm not too sure. Let's have a look, see how he does. To the Sing. It looks too good to be true. It looks like Danny has been black flagged from this session. Let's go on to Race Director and have a look to see what's been going on with Danny. No, it seems to be okay. That is his. Yeah, it seems to be all good for Danny. So Danny is still going. He just decided to cut that chicane. Is still going, so a false alarm for him. He'll be able to catch up onto the pack. Danny is going to be gaining enough places and time onto Cherry 2 Pie, who is just losing out from this. This safety car has him, but also ruined He's just in the nitty gritty of a battle he don't really want to be involved in. McSendit and Ollie D, they're all gaining enough time at the moment. Danny could just be close enough to pick up the scraps of this battle. You can see H-Eagle is getting closer and closer, so to McSendit is 4.3 seconds, so it should be very close. You can just see there, see the tail end of that Red Bull. And Deagle Killer is gaining enough championship points on Ollie D to feel like this has been a comfortable Grand Prix for him. You can see Ollie D now gaining onto it, so it's just Danny guy yet to gain on. Cherry 2 Pie been lapped in that battle and within that pack at the moment, so these guys have to try and filter their way through and pick off whatever they can at the moment. Lap 19 of 39, 20 laps to go. It'll be a chaotic 20 laps to go. So many guys DNF so early on in this Grand Prix. We've got the big chunk and a big portion of it still to go. Is a safety car coming in this lap? We'll keep an eye on what Dom does. The car is in this lap, so Danny I think is going to just miss out now. He might gain onto the rear end of it slightly, but we'll go on board with Dom. You can see him backing up the pack now, ready for this safety car restart. The safety car has peeled to the right hand side. Cherry 2 Pie is going to move out the way, but Dom leads. Cherry 2 Pie just clipping the wall there. We'll look further down. There's probably more likelihood of a battle, especially with the H-Eagle and Ollie D at the moment. Ollie D is all over the rear end of the H-Eagle on the safety car restart. Can he get the move done round the outside? Is he going to avoid the wall? Great side by side racing between these two as they head up the hill now. Let's see what they can do. Ollie D got the inside. The H-Eagle has had to give up the position there, concede the place, and Ollie D gets through into Casino now, and he's moved up into P4. Next up for him is McSendit as he tries to make his way through. Cherry 2 Pie having to concede places now as these guys all get closer and closer and the battle starts to form. But Dom has gained 2.3 seconds in just 1.5 sectors already. That back marker of Cherry 2 Pie has done him an absolute favour. Deagle Killer is on much older tyres than these guys as well. Cherry 2 Pie probably going to move up the way here for Ollie D. McSendit is getting closer and closer onto Deagle Killer as they head down into the chicane now. Deagle Killer has got one hell of a defensive job on his hands with two guys behind him on much fresher tyres. The H-Eagle as well on dead tyres as well. And Danny is gained onto the rear end of this pack as well, and this is good for him as he needs to try and build as much of a gap as possible. 1 minute 9 seconds for Cherry 2 Pie to gain if he wants to get onto the rear end of Danny. McSendit now has gone through, and Deagle Killer has decided to come into the pits. Did he pick up some front wing damage? Let's have a look at his front wing. It looks to be clean. I'm not sure if they've got a fresh front wing for him. Oh, is it a drive-through? It's a drive-through for Deagle Killer, and so too the H-Eagle, I believe. So both of them picked up drive-through penalties there. That is a disaster for them. So both of them pick up drive-through penalties, and Danny, a pad runner, is up into P4. Ollie D versus McSendit now is the battle we want to watch. As Ollie D, the pendulum is swung in his favour. He now is gaining championship points on Deagle Killer. Always drama at Monaco here. VRC's first time at the Monte Carlo circuit, one of the greatest circuits on the F1 calendar, 21 of 39. We've got ourselves some interesting battles still to come to see what these guys are able to do. McSendit versus Ollie D is where the action is at the moment. Not the most exciting of restarts because of the lack of cars that have formed, but Cherry 2 Pie is dropping back a little bit. We could see the Eagle Killer and the H Eagle though gaining a lot on Danny, and that could cause some exciting battles. Ollie D though can smell a second place at the moment. Mr. Consistent, Mr. Reliable, a fantastic driver on his day, an AOR World Champion, signed for Veloce, and does some great karting stuff as well. A very quick and competitive guy, formerly known as Bottoloce by somebody who will be unnamed. As he head down now up into this long hill sections, turns 2 and 3, drinking to left and right where Cherry 2 Pie and Flores come together earlier on. And this now is getting very interesting between McSendit and Ollie D. McSendit could be on for back-to-back podiums if he continues the way he's going at the moment. Ollie D is getting closer and closer and just needs to take full advantage when he can of this battle that's starting to form ahead of him between himself and McSendit. He just needs to maybe keep it clean and take full advantage when a mistake inevitably comes from somebody, maybe McSendit, but Freak, if Freak/Dom does make a mistake in this race, and I'll be heartbroken for him because he deserves this race at the moment. He has been utterly flawless and untouchable from every single person here. Nobody has been able to get onto his level in this Grand Prix, and he has been nearly perfect throughout this race at the moment. Ollie D still close on McSendit, and this could well be a reoccurring theme. Cherry 2 Pie picking up a 3-second time penalty. As these guys continue to battle, we'll keep a close eye on what's able to do. Ollie D though, every single lap is getting closer and closer to the guy ahead, but he's just not really able to get a move done. He's really struggling at the moment to find that exit out the corner that gives him enough momentum to come close enough and catch the guy ahead of him. And that of course is the key fundamental you want to be achieving. If you get a good enough exit, then the corner, the overtaking opportunity, if you get a good enough exit out the corner, the overtaking opportunity will open up for you, and you will find yourself in dreamland with enough traction to get past the guy ahead of you, which Ollie D at the moment is unable to do. Further down the grid, Deagle Killer has gained he's now 3.9 seconds to the guy behind of him. It's getting closer and closer between them two. Cherry 2 Pie has taken a chunk out of the time that was between him and the H Eagle after the H Eagle's drive-through penalty, so Cherry 2 Pie could well be on for a comeback tour, Westlife-esque here. Very unlikely though with the gap he's got. He just needs to keep it on track and pick up some solid points. That safety car kind of killed him. He should have been let through, but sadly for him, it was unable to be let through. Probably wouldn't have had much of a dent if he was let through, because he wouldn't have been able to gain that much time in that shorter lap distance to really get onto the rear end of Eagle Killer there, just clipping the wall. 2.5 seconds, and he will be all over the rear end of Danny, and that could well be one hell of an overtaking battle between them two. 12 lap, 14 lap old tyres, or oldest tyres, whereas the guys ahead of them are absolutely flying on brand new, fresh tyres. Ultra soft for Ollie, ultra softs also for McSendit. Dom though is gaining such a significant amount of time. You just wonder if Ollie D got some clean air, could he maybe challenge Dom at this race at the rate that he's going? I'd be very surprised if he did. It'd be nice to think that he could maybe catch up to him and get a close enough move, but I just think it's unplausible at the moment because Ollie D is absolutely flying, but nowhere near to the degree that Dom/Freak is at the moment. He is on another level. Probably deserves a hell of a lot of respect from these guys about his pace that he's showing. Francis has left the session, a shame for him. As Deagle Killer has got past Danny, so Danny must have had a mistake, or Deagle just easily dispatched of him there. That is a shame, because I was looking forward to seeing how he got past. Must have been a mistake from Danny, who is, yeah, you can see there, look how much he's struggling on them tyres. A 3-second time penalty. H Eagle is getting closer and closer to him. Ollie D and McSendit are just so close every single lap. You've got to keep an eye on these two. Sector 2 and 3, yellow flags. Deagle Killer's got a problem. Is there a puncture there for Deagle Killer, or has he hit a wall or something? I'm not too sure. We'll keep an eye on him. Is he going to have to go into the pits? Is there a puncture there for him? I'm not too sure. Let's have a look at what's happened to Deagle. He's having to come into the pit. I think he may have picked up a puncture there. So Deagle Killer, his race has gone from bad to worse. He's now dropping down to the P6, and H Eagle is going to be onto the rear end, which he will be shortly. No, Danny's in the pits as well. So Danny is going to get ahead of Deagle. Let's see if Deagle changes his front wing. I think he has, maybe he has a change, we can't see there. Yeah, he must have had a change of front wing, but Danny is out ahead of him, so he's have to get back past him. So we'll get round 2 of that. Ollie D, who's been on the back of McSendit for so long here, needs to keep onto his rear end and maybe pressurise him into a mistake, as Cherry 2 Pie has dropped back even more time, so I can imagine he's had to come into the pits once again. There's a problem for him to keep it clean. 7th place is his at the moment, and there's no real change for him in sight. Nobody to put him under pressure at the moment. Danny is ahead of Deagle Killer, 3.4 seconds. Ollie D, though, once again, all over the rear end of McSendit, but he's just not close enough, and there's no real overtaking opportunities around here at Monaco. He has to get inventive like Tim Palm did earlier if he wants to get past. He heads up the hill section now. Let's see what Ollie D can do, heading through into Casino shortly now. Like a quick right-hander. Let's see what he's able to do. Can he come through this hotel hairpin section, maybe go for a late lunge up the inside? I'd be surprised if he did. He's on for a podium at the moment and gaining points in the championship between him and Deagle as much as he'd love. 2nd place, clipping the rear end of McSendit there. Ollie D needs to keep it clean. If he gets any damage to his front wing, he will come out still in P3, but P2 is still on the cards here if he keeps it nice and clean between himself and the car behind. There could be an overtaking opportunity into Sandavot, also through Matinee and Casino if he can get round the outside. Look how close he is in the braking zone there on the exit of the tunnel, going through the Nouvelle chicane. If he gets a good enough exit out of Portier, you could well see him have an overtaking opportunity. You look how close, but he's really struggling with dirty air at the moment. Front lock up from McSendit. This could be Ollie D's opportunity if he gets a good enough exit out of the final corner, clipping the curving nicely there, opens the corner up, but you see the acceleration difference that McSendit has, which gives him just enough of a gap, but Ollie D is unable to do so and get past him. McSendit doing a good defensive job here, just like Francis did earlier. And Ollie D on lap 27 of 39 is infuriated. His freak has gained his gap up to 7.2 seconds at the moment. Deagle Killer all over, very soon, will be all over the rear end of Danny as well, so we'll keep a close eye on that and try and catch a hold of it this time. Look at McSendit, he's struggling a little bit. Can Ollie D go for a late lunge up the inside? No, he has not. He's thought better of it. Cherry 2 Pie just 34 seconds to Deagle Killer now, so he has got much closer. So a little bit of hope for Cherry 2 Pie there. McSendit now has to defend once against Ollie D. Let's see if he can hold on to the DRS. He's gained quite a lot here. The slipstream and DRS isn't available, but slipstream is here. Can he go for a late lunge? No, he cannot. He just seems to get too short. Not long enough there. If maybe the Nouvelle chicane wasn't available, he would have been, maybe to get up into this corner here through turns 12 and 13. Ollie D just a little bit off camber there. He may have clipped the front wing. He's got a time penalty, but he may have just lost a little bit of front wing. Not ideal for him, as McSendit's really struggling at the moment. Ollie D, is he coming into the pits? No, he is not, so no major damage for him. Could have been disaster for him though. We'll go on to Deagle Killer, who is gaining quite a lot onto Danny ahead of him. He's on much fresher tyres than the Haas driver ahead of him, the pad running Danny, who's doing a great job at the moment to hold on to that place. He's been overtaken by countless drivers, but he's really showing his talent at the moment. Deagle Killer is getting closer and closer, just 1.2 seconds now. We saw earlier how he just got past Danny after Danny made a little mistake. Could this be Deagle Killer's next opportunity to go for an overtake? It might be a little bit difficult now, as Danny will be on much fresher tyres than he was earlier and have a little bit more confidence. It's difficult to overtake around here. You'd imagine there'd be some overtaking zones. You have to get so creative around here. Ollie D is 1 second off McSendit, so maybe he's going to save up his ERS and go once again later on. Danny picks up a 3-second time penalty now. These guys will not care about that though. None of them will be aware that many of them will have time penalties in the Grand Prix, so we could see a completely different grid, especially guys who are close, such as Danny, Deagle, Ollie and McSendit at the moment. Look how close the Red Bull is onto that Haas car, getting closer and closer every lap, and this is the closest he's going to be. That number 21 car is all over the rear end of that white Haas of AZR Danny, formerly TR Button, as he's coming through now into the tunnel section. Deagle Killer is getting closer and closer every single time he goes. Slipstream available to him as they exit the tunnel now. Let's see what he can do. Defensive manoeuvre from Danny around the outside. Goes Deagle. Can he get it done? No, he cannot. Good defensive driving from Danny, but Deagle Killer is getting closer, and there's a mistake from Danny. Danny has lost control of the car there, coming out of the Nouvelle chicane, and that will be why he has lost that place. And Deagle Killer is probably feeling a bit of deja vu. A similar thing earlier happened to Danny, and he drops down into P6 now. That could actually open up a chance for Cherry 2 Pie and him to battle. So a little lifeline from Cherry 2 Pie. I don't think he'll be in the pits for too long, Danny, but Cherry 2 Pie, if he keeps his consistency, could well find himself in a little scrap with Danny. You see Cherry 2 Pie there coming through the tunnel section now. He'll be aware that Danny is into the pits for a fresh front wing, so they could be within enough of a gap that if one more mistake happens for Danny, Cherry 2 Pie could be on for some major points. Ollie D now 1.7 seconds behind, so he's dropped off a little bit, maybe trying to pump in a bit more time, try and gain some clean air, get a bit of consistency going for one more run. 30 of 39 laps completed, and this getting closer and closer every time we see these guys. There's so much drama going on, but Freak at the moment is the undisputed driver of the day with the way he's driving at the moment. A quality showing from the man on the top step at the moment in the Williams car, doing an almighty job for the team. The reserve driver on his debut could well be going full time after the showing he has had today. A real positive show from him at the moment as he tries to really boost his momentum and could maybe have a late push for the championship. You never know, he may well be laying down his cards nice and early about a championship push, which would be pretty incredible if you do ask me, if he did come in at this stage at Monaco and maybe gained enough in the championship. Cherry 2 Pie is coming to the pits as well for a fresh set of ultra soft tyres. Danny did not come into the pits, so that is a little bit surprising. I'm not going to lie to you. I was expecting maybe Danny to come in after the front wing damage he picked up and Cherry not to, but are this both? No, Danny's on 6-lap old supers, unless they're old supers. The gap seems pretty similar, so Cherry 2 Pie though is starting to gain a little bit. If he can gain 30 seconds in 8 laps, I'd be surprised. It could well be some drama. Ollie D has come into the pits for a fresh set of tyres in them pink walled hyper soft tyres. As a Cherry 2 Pie has picked up a 3-second time penalty. The H-Eagle though isn't close enough to Ollie to challenge him, so McSendit's good defensive driving means that he is more than likely going to be on to P2 unless he makes a mistake. Ollie D coming out of the pit lane now, and he is no match to the H-Eagle, who is unable to get close enough to him at this stage of the Grand Prix. So your run at the moment is Freak, who we haven't really looked at much in this Grand Prix. He's done a real good job. We'll have a look at him on a lap now quickly. On board with him for a lap to see what he's like and how he does it, just clipping the wall there. God, imagine if he lost his front wing there. That would have been the commentator's curse if ever. Step at the moment and win this Grand Prix as things stand, on about to go on to lap 32 of 39 laps here at Monaco. The crown in the jewel. Sorry, no, the jewel in the crown. God, I'm tired. The jewel in the crown. He's top at the moment. It is Freak from McSendit, then Ollie D, the H-Eagle, Deagle Killer, Danny and Cherry 2 Pie make out the top 7, the only 7 guys still in this Grand Prix. Francis, who was having such a good race earlier on for a podium, he is down in 8th position and will not get any points for his efforts there. 15 laps he last, as you can see, based on tyres, was doing such a good job and was about to come into pits probably. Lambo in 9th, Blizzard in 10th, who was struggling all day. Tim Barb, who came together with Cherry 2 Pie, which cost him earlier. Expert as well, just DNF'd out of this Grand Prix. Flores, who comes together with Cherry 2 Pie, dare say that'll be looked into. Dan Daniel doing a solid job for a podium in 2nd place, but he off his way and was out of this Grand Prix. Poe, one of our first DNF just after coming with fresh tyres, lost control of the car, trying to push too much on the undercut. And Matt coming out of Casino, the same place where Dan Daniel went off. If you want to hear an interview of Pit Matt, you scroll back a little bit. That was on around about lap 11 when we spoke to Pit Matt about his free and about a few incidents that he saw on track. He just saw a complete lap with Freak on 33, 39. He is really job here today and probably deserves this Grand Prix if he can get it to the end of this Grand Prix. He's done a real flawless job. 15 seconds, and we've had a safety car in this Grand Prix. He could well have lapped the entire field with the pace he has shown today. Not just the pace, it's the consistency that he's doing so at. It's just a remarkable drive from him at the moment. Battles on track. It looks like Deagle Killer and the H-Eagle. It's the battle of the Eagles here today, and these two are going to be very, very close on track. Deagle is getting closer and closer, showing some serious pace. Ollie D will be gaining a decent amount of points, you'd say. It will be 6 points at the moment he will gain in the championship. If Deagle gets past, it's just 3. 6 points could be crucial into the championship later on at more exciting tracks where overtaking is more plausible for these guys. But the H-Eagle has got one hell of a job to keep this guy behind him. 26 lap old tyres for the H-Eagle. He is on the oldest set of tyres out on track. He did not pit during the safety car, he pit before it all went off. Deagle Killer pitting just a few laps ago after a mistake for him. He decided to come into the pits, plus a drive-through penalty, plus corner cuts for him. He is onto the rear end of the H-Eagle, and this is now getting a little bit naughty between these two, and this could get very interesting indeed. A car ahead of him, 3-2 by a back marker who may be by the entire field other than Danny at this rate. You see the H-Eagle there really struggling at the moment, having to try and hold off the car behind him, which is the Killer. The Red Bull and the Sauber going to get into a nice little bit of 50 car for us. Let's see what they can do now. Heading into tunnel, a fantastic exit there from the Eagle Killer. He's going to try and go around the outside. The H-Eagle has to give him enough space as they're coming through the Novelle chicane. The Eagle Killer gets past the Sauber and is up into P4 there, reducing the gap in the championship loss there from Ollie D, who has just set the fastest lap of the Grand Prix. 17 seconds, and Freak is gaining dramatically to McSendit, and he is on the hardest compound of super soft tyres at the moment. A real good showing from him. He's absolutely fine, and McSendit 17 seconds. Ollie D is 20 seconds behind as Deagle Killer has got past the H-Eagle. Danny and Cherry 2 Pie pretty much out of this Grand Prix. McSendit picking up a time penalty. If Ollie D can gain 20 seconds, he might be able to get past the car ahead of him, but there's no real on-track action at the moment between these guys about what the championship was going into this Grand Prix and how it will be affected. I'll quickly get the standings up for you. Give me just one moment. So heading into this Grand Prix, 87 points was the highest total, and that was for the Eagle Killer of the Netherlands at the moment. He is on 87. At the moment, he'll be picking up 15 points, increasing his lead in the championship onto 92 points, just 8 points shy of 100 in the first three figures of any driver. Ollie D went into this Grand Prix on 68 points. He missed last week, of course, so he had no points from then. He'll now be gaining 15 points. My bad, sorry. From that, oh no, I've completely bowled it, my apologies. So Deagle Killer will be gaining 12 points from this Grand Prix. I had an absolute mare there. Deagle Killer will be gaining 12 points from this Grand Prix and will be on 99 heading into this Grand Prix, into next week, so he is just shy of the 100 points mark. Ollie D on 68 at this current moment in time will be gaining 15 points in the championship, which will promote him onto promoting him onto 83 points he'll be onto, so he'll be just a little bit shy of the guy ahead of him at the moment. For McSendit, he's currently on 25 points, gaining 18 as well for him, so a real good showing from him at the moment. Could be on for back-to-back podiums, which is a real good showing, and a lot of positivity can be said for McSendit at the moment. The USA-based driver on 25, gaining 18, which will promote him up into 5th in the championship. In fact, no, it may be 4th. Yes, it will be. Yeah, it will be 4th. He'll be up into 4th in the championship. 3rd in the championship will go to the H-Eagle. Dom will be taking a huge rise at the moment. He'll be going up into 6th in the championship. Of course, Marquesses will be on 28 ahead of him, 3 points ahead. With Lambo, Tim Palm, Dan Daniel and Pit Matt, none of them picking up points at the moment. So, yeah, he'll be gaining quite a lot and taking an instant impact. That midfield battle, though, is so tight. After this race, it will be Lambo, Tim Palm, Dan Daniel and Pit Matt all separated by 2 points. So, real tight between them lot at the moment, as there seems to be no real on track. Another victim for the lapping brigade of Freak, that even with a safety car is about to lap Danny, so that might be a blessing in disguise for the Sauber driver. So yeah, we'll lead from Ollie D, the H-Eagle. That will be how the championship top 3 line up, so a little bit of hope for the H-Eagle, who's on a very consistent drive at the moment, doing a good enough job. In fact, no, it's not Danny, it's the H-Eagle who's been lapped. Oh, Christ, speaking of which, yeah, the H-Eagle's just been lapped there by Dom, so mildly humiliating for him. He's now just going to come across and try and keep this consistent. You can see Cherry 2 Pie in the background there has also been lapped by Danny. By the H-Eagle. The only guy who hasn't lapped him is Danny at the moment, who is 51 seconds behind the H-Eagle as things stand. But Cherry 2 Pie is getting very close, sector 1 and 2. Danny's DNF'd! Danny has crushed out, but he has completed 50%, so will get 7th place. But Danny is out of this Grand Prix. The real question now is Cherry 2 Pie been lapped enough times that he can get past where Danny was? That's the real question. I'm not too sure, but I think think that Cherry Tupai is able to get past where Danny... yeah, he has. So Cherry Tupai has moved up past where Danny was. Danny will be getting 7th place, and the points that comes with that will be 6 championship points for him. Sadly for Danny, formerly of Button, he was unable to get to the end. He was doing such a good job, doing so well on the pad, but just couldn't get there. So Cherry Tupai promoted up into 6th on 8 points, which could be helpful for his little midfield scrap that he's having with a few of these guys now. On the penultimate lap, we'll stay on board with Freak, who has been utterly flawless here. I'm looking forward to this weekend's activities of F1 action in AOR, especially after what we've seen today, because some of these guys could have some catastrophic races, and we've seen some consistency with Dom absolutely flying. What a driver he is. I look forward to seeing what the guys are able to do at Canada to stop him. This pace he's shown here today has been truly unstoppable. Now on the final lap one more time, we'll take a look at a lap as he heads down into turn 1 of the Sandoval, heading up through turns 2 and 3, up through Massenet. Yellow flags there slightly, through Bourrivage and Massenet, through Casino now as he flicks it to the right now, heading into the Nico Rosberg corner, as I like to call it. He's going to quickly move it to the right hand side, heading into the Grand Hotel hairpin, holding the corner nicely, just riding the curb slightly, opening it up as you head downhill. Right-handed 90 degree, another right-handed 90 degree corner as you come through Portier, heading up through to the tunnel now for one final time. Yellow flags in sector 2. Who's lost it? Cherry Tupai has lost it there, going into the coming now into the Grand Hotel. So he's a lock up for the tyres. His tyres are dead now. Sorry there. Freak has gone through the Nobel chicane. 12 and 13 await him now as a swimming pool section. One last time. He's going to come through this final section. A standing ovation for everyone here at VRC. A flawless drive. 26 seconds to the car behind him. And this has been utterly flawless from him. Through Raskas. It is going to be Freak, who wins the Monaco Grand Prix. Apologies for that. I was reading a comment from Danny there. Cherry Tupai is retired from this Grand Prix. He's called it a day. Must have crashed out. But Freak wins the Monaco Grand Prix. Undoubtedly in second place is going to be Muxendit, who is going to come across the line now. A very good drive from him. Defended from the likes of Ollie D quite consistently. Done a great job as he comes through the final corner now. He's going to pick up 18 points in the championship. Back-to-back podiums for him, a real good showing. One win and a second place is nothing to be ashamed of. Great showing from Muxendit, representing America very nicely indeed. Ollie D was just 12 seconds shy. A few more laps maybe could have got the points he wanted, but he is gaining on the Eagle Killer slightly, just 3 points. Them two will have gained, Ollie D will have gained on the Eagle Killer in the championship. The H Eagle has crossed the line after being lapped, and of course it's now the Eagle. Even if he retires, he wants to finish the full 100% of this Grand Prix. 50% race distance, but 100% of these laps will be completed by the Eagle Killer. He crosses the line to round out the classification. So it is Freak who wins from Muxendit and Ollie D. Congratulations to Dom, who has done an absolutely flawless Grand Prix here at Monaco, and he is the first ever winner of the Monaco Grand Prix for VRC. A fantastic showing from him. Let's enjoy these podium celebrations. Well, there you have it, a successful Grand Prix and a great battle between these guys. We'll quickly just save the recording of that, ready for the highlights that will be on Twitter very, very shortly. Let's run you through then the classifications. It was Freak who won the Grand Prix from Muxendit and Ollie D. A 45-second gap from Ollie D to Freak, something he will not be too used to. The Eagle Killer was in 4th, the H Eagle was in 5th, Cherry Tupai was in 6th. Danny will classify with points. He just, sadly for him, missed out on that 100% of the race completed. Francis in 8th, done so well, but did not finish, starting in P3. Lambo, Blizzard, Tim Palm, Ixbrit, Flores, Dan Daniel, TTG Poe and Pit Matt, including Francis. None of them will score points in that Grand Prix because they did not complete 100% of race distance. But that is it for your Monaco Grand Prix here for VRC. Thank you all so very much for watching and listening along. I know of a graph sometimes But next week we have got ourselves a race that could be an absolute classic in VRC. It is Canada, one of my personal favourite tracks, at the Montreal street circuit, at the Circuit de Villeneuve. It's going to be an absolute iconic race, I feel like, and it's going to be a great showing from these guys. A thank you to all the drivers that finished, all the drivers that came today, and a huge congratulations to Freak/Dom. We will see you next time in Canada for what promises to be a fantastic Grand Prix. See you very soon. Take care.